Good morning everybody, my name's Cadbury and welcome to the first day of British summertime, which is really nice, and also welcome to the first live, hang on a second, we've got this in here. So welcome to the first live Better Together Dorset class. So this morning's class is going to be an introduction to Pilates. So we're going to be covering the basic principles behind Pilates and what Pilates is all about. And then I'm going to introduce you to some of the exercises that we would normally cover in our Pilates classes. This is suitable for anybody. I'm going to give you different levels and you can pick the level that you feel happy with. If you have done Pilates before, that's fine. It's always good to revisit those basic principles, and obviously you can choose a level that you would normally work at. But in terms of levels, one of the most important things with any of these exercise classes that we're doing online is making sure that you do work at your own level, and I can't highlight that enough in terms of making sure that you work into no pain or discomfort at all. And if you do have any particular problems with any of the exercises, please just stop and start with the next one. And if you have got any questions, then please just feel free just to contact any of us throughout the week. So all you need for this morning is a mat. If you haven't got a mat, that doesn't matter, just a towel or a blanket, or you can lie on the carpet. And you need just a small hand towel if you have got one, just for a little pillow, or you can use a little sofa cushion or a pillow if you want to be nice and comfortable, and a little bit of water as well if you want that. In terms of music, I'm not going to be using music in the background of my videos just so that you can hear me nice and clearly, but I really love doing Pilates to music, so put out your favourite chill out tunes if you can pop those on. And if you are on any music channels, if you want to search Kate Cadbury Pilates playlist, then you should be able to find my playlists, and those are the playlists that I normally use in our classes. Okay, so just a little bit of chatting just to talk about what Pilates is all about so that you get the maximum benefit out of the session this morning. So Pilates is about focusing on your abdominal muscles. So you've got two sets of tummy muscles. You've got your upper tummy muscles, and they're much more the dominant ones in all of us. So they're quick firing, what we call fast twitch muscles. So big powerful muscles that you would use in your everyday activities. And if you are doing exercises such as sit-ups, then you would generally be using those muscles when you're doing those sit-up type of exercises. Whereas we've also got our lower, deeper abdominal muscles, and they're more our slow twitch postural muscles, and those are the ones that we tend to focus on a bit more in Pilates, and they work in combination with your pelvic floor, with your spinal muscles, and with your glutes and the muscles around the hip and the pelvis. And Pilates is basically all about getting those muscles nice and strong and getting your body moving and getting a nice bit of mobility through your body. So there's a number of reasons why you would choose to do Pilates. A, because it's great fun and I love it, but being a physiotherapist teaching Pilates, I get a whole range of people come to me for Pilates, and one of the big reasons is for aches and pains. So it can be great for that in terms of reducing pains that you can get by getting a bit more mobility into the body and also getting you stronger. It's also great for sports performance and fitness, so I tend to think of this as my little powerhouse, and the stronger this is, then the more power I'm able to create with my sports that I do. So you might want to choose to use it for that. And then also it's great for mental health and well-being, which with everything that we're going through at the moment, this is so important to try and look after that if you can and stay positive. So just give yourself a little bit of time, and Pilates will just give you 30-40 minutes just to focus on you, focus on your body, focus on your muscles, and just give you a little bit of time to take a breath. So in terms of the breath, if you haven't done any Pilates before, I tend to say don't worry about the breathing at all, because it can be quite a lot to think about trying to work out which muscles you're meant to be working, which arm and legs are meant to be moving, and thinking about whether you're meant to be breathing in or out. So just, if you haven't done any Pilates, just breathe naturally. Try not to hold the breath, so you just breathe naturally, and then once you get more used to it, then you can bring the breath into the movements a little bit more. Okay, so I think we're ready to get started. Got lots of messages coming up here, so which is great. Hi to everybody. Hi Nikki. Hi Paul. Hi Emma. Hi Maria. So thank you for joining me. Yeah, really great to have you this morning. So if you can come onto your mats, and we're going to warm up in standing to start with, and then we're going to just find the muscles that we need to be focusing on in Pilates. So when you stand on your mat to start with, we want to think about having you in a nice neutral position if we can. So we want to stand with our feet hip distance apart. So just a little tip to that is to pop the heel in the arch of one foot and twist the foot around. Apparently that's hip distance apart. And then you're just going to gently rock forwards and backwards onto your toes and your heels. And just get your bearings on the mat there and just loosen off through the ankle joints. Okay. So when you're ready, you're just going to settle in the centre, and I want you to think about your footprint on the mat and just make sure you've got equal weight between both of your feet. And then we want to try and distribute that weight between the base of the big toe, the little toe and the heel. So if you can think about that little triangle of weight bearing, that's where your weight should be distributed. So base of the big toe, little toe and heel. And then just imagine you've got little pins in the arches of your feet, and you're just going to gently lift those arches away from the pins, and that will just get the foot muscles nice and active. And then you're going to take your focus up to your knees. So the tendency in life is to lock our knees back and snap them into extension. That puts quite a lot of pressure on the knees and also means that we're not so active through our thighs and our glutes. So if you can just think about that little soft knee bend for me, and then that will weight up through the thighs and into the glutes as well. We're going to pop our hands on our hips, and we're just going to get our pelvis nice and neutral. So if you can stick your bottom out, so tilt your pelvis forwards and then tuck your bottom underneath you. Just do that a few times just to loosen off through the low back and pelvic area. Okay, and then when you're ready, you're going to rest halfway between those two positions. So that's what we call that pelvic neutral position, where you're almost just feeling like you're tucking the tailbone just slightly underneath you. And then we're going to find these muscles that we want to focus on in Pilates. So if you can find your bony bits at the front of your hips, and you're going to come in an inch and down an inch. So they sort of sit on your low knicker line, depending on what kind of knickers you wear. But if you can think about there, and if you can think about just gently tensing underneath your fingertips there. So you should feel a little bit of tension just creating underneath the fingertips, whilst trying to keep these upper tummy muscles nice and relaxed if you can. So it's quite a subtle contraction, as this is a slow twitch postural muscle. It's not a big forceful contraction, so if someone was standing in the room with me, they wouldn't necessarily know that I'm doing anything. So it's quite subtle. You can also use your pelvic floor to try and get that contraction. So if you think about drawing up and in through the pelvic floor, then you should feel those tummy muscles just kicking in that little bit more. If you haven't done Pilates before, this can feel a little bit alien, so don't worry if you're not feeling anything. That's quite normal, and it can take a little bit of time just to get into the sync of that. And then once you've done it a few times, you'll feel like you're connecting with those muscles that much more. So just consciously thinking about that contraction if you can, and just breathing naturally through it. Okay, so we're going to relax our arms back down by our sides, and thinking about just opening nice and wide across the collarbones, and just sliding your shoulder blades down your back towards your hips. So you're nice and open and relaxed through the top of the shoulders, and then feeling nice and lengthened at the back of the neck. So we're going to take a breath in, and we're going to draw up through the tummy muscles. And then as you breathe out, reach your arms up to the ceiling and follow your movement with your head and your eyes. And you're going to reach up with your left hands if you're trying to touch the ceiling, and release and change. Good, so feeling that good stretch through the side of the body as you take a nice deep breath in and release. And just one more on each side, stretching as far as you can. And then we're going to settle in the centre. You're going to take your right arm down by your side, and you're going to stretch over to the right and take a big breath in there and breathe out and release. And then swap sides, stretching over, taking a nice deep breath in and release. We're going to take hold of our left wrist now, and we're going to side bend over to the right and really stretch that arm away, just feeling that good distraction through the side of the body as you take a breath in and release. Just watching if you do get any shoulder discomfort, just working to the range that you feel comfortable, taking a big breath in there to feel that stretch and release. Okay, you're going to bring your arms down in front of you now, just crossing your arms but keeping the shoulders nice and relaxed. You're going to rotate round to the right, but keep the hips pointing at me, and taking a big breath in there and release and change. So stretching round, feel that good stretch through your mid-back. Excellent. And release. Just one more in each direction for me. Well done. And last one. Okay, you're going to come back to the centre, just releasing your arms down. You're going to come up onto your toes and reach the arms up, and then lower back down. So thinking about that little bit of contraction in through the tummy muscle if you can, thinking about pushing equally through both of your feet. So you're getting those calf muscles working, And just opening up through the chest as you take the arms up to the ceiling. Well done, keep it going. We're going to go for 5, 4, 3, 2, stay lifted on your last one, and then into toy soldier arms, so one arm up, one arm down. You can lower the heels if you want to, otherwise keep pushing through the feet, keep drawing in through the tummy. We're going to go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the arms in front of you and lower back down. Okay, we're going to take the legs a little bit wider and just finish off with squats. If you do get any knee discomfort, you can swap these for doing marching on the spot, so bringing one knee up and then down. Otherwise, legs are going to go a little bit wider with the feet turned out to the side. You're going to take a breath in, and then as you breathe out, go down into your knee bend, and breathe in, come back up again. So with your squats, you're in control of how low you go, so just watching that if you do get any knee, hip or back discomfort. Otherwise, going nice and low and really getting those thighs and glutes working as you're pushing that floor away from you as you come back up again. Just creating that tension through the front of the thighs. And then when you finish the squat up, just push the pelvis forward so you're getting that good squeeze into the bottom muscles. Well done. Okay, still remembering the tummy muscles. Lots to think about. Okay, keep it going if you can, or keep your marching on the spot if you do get knee discomfort. Well done. We're going to go for 5, 4, 3, 2. Stay down on your last one if you can, and little pulses now for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and up you come. Oh, it's a bit early on Sunday morning for that. Good, so just give those legs and arms a good shake out and just take a drink, and we'll see who we've got on here. So Kirsty, Charlotte, Amy, Eva, Emily Ball, Hannah, Allenby Smith, nice to see you all. So we're going to come down onto the mat now. So if you can come and stand at the end of your mat. And we're going to go into an exercise called the roll down. So if you can have your feet hip distance apart, and when you're ready, you're going to take a breath in. As you breathe out, come up onto your toes and reach the arms up and away, taking a deep breath in there. And then as you breathe out, you're going to lower your heels and your arms. You're going to tuck your chin down, and you're going to slowly release through the spine. Anybody with any back discomfort, just please go within the range that you feel comfortable. Don't push into pain at all. Otherwise, just going as far as you can down towards the mat, taking a nice deep breath in there. And then as you breathe out, draw in through the tummy muscle. Slowly put the weight back through the spine, just one level at a time. And then lastly, just coming up with your head and neck. Okay, we're going to go again. So you're going to reach up and away, taking a breath in. And then as you breathe out, lower the heels, lower the arms, tuck that chin down again. Just going as you feel comfortable. Just being wary if you do get any sciatic type pain, not pushing into that at all. So just going within that range. Nice deep breath in at the bottom. And then as you breathe out, draw in through the tummy muscles. Slowly put the weight back through the spine again. And then lastly, just coming into your upright position. Okay, last one guys. So you're going to come up onto your toes, reach up and away, taking a breath in. And then as you breathe out, slowly lowering down again. And then this time at the bottom, you're going to take a nice deep breath in, and then as you breathe out, if you can bend your knees, and you're going to lower yourself down onto the mat for me. And you're going to come and lie down on your back. So just supporting your head on your towel. We're going to get ourselves nice and neutral and lying now. So we want to lie with our feet hip distance apart. So they're going to be in line with your knees, hips and shoulders. So imagine you've got 2 parallel lines on the ceiling up above you. And you're going to be in line with those lines. So feet, knees, hips and shoulders in line with your parallel lines, and heads going down through the centre. And then we want to get our pelvis neutral in this position. So if you can rock your pelvis backwards, so push the small of your back into the mat, and then you're going to arch your back, so go the other way. Just do that a few times just to get used to that movement. So rocking backwards and then arching, and just do one more for me. Good. And then when you've done that, you're going to rest halfway between those 2 positions. So that's what we call that pelvic neutral position again. And just to check you've got that, just pop your hand in between your low back and the mat, and you should just be able to get your hand in that little gap, okay? So just staying nice and neutral there. Let's remind ourselves of those tummy muscles that we need to be working. So finding those bony bits, coming in an inch and down an inch, and just thinking about that little tension underneath those fingertips. So you're drawing up through the pelvic floor, creating that little tension. So you almost want to think of it as if you're doing up a belt, just one little extra notch, and you're just drawing that tummy muscle away from that belt, but trying to keep the upper tummy muscles nice and relaxed for me. If you want to use your fingertips for a little bit of feedback through the class, that's always quite helpful when you are first starting, so you're feeling that little tension underneath the fingers. Okay, otherwise we're going to keep our arms relaxed down by our sides, thinking about just relaxing your ribs down into your tummy as well, and just opening up across the collarbones and sliding your shoulder blades down your back, and then lastly just a little chin tuck down towards our chest. So we're going to go into what we call single tabletop with our right leg. So this is as if we're resting our leg on a table. So your knee is in line with your hip and your shin is parallel to the ceiling. And we're going to go into hip twist. So we're going to keep this left leg nice and still and steady. We're going to take a breath in and then draw in through the tummy muscle. And on your out breath, you're going to take the right leg out to the side. And on your in breath, bring the leg back in again. So like I said, if you haven't done much Pilates before, don't worry about the breath as long as you're not holding your breath. Just focus on that tummy muscle contraction and focus on where the leg's going. So you want to think about keeping the knee in line with the foot as you take the leg out to the side. So imagine you've got a little pencil on the top of the knee and top of the foot, and you're drawing two parallel lines across the ceiling with those pencils. You want to think about keeping this left knee as still as you can. So imagine you've got a little pin on top of that left knee and you're trying to keep it steady in the centre. Thinking about keeping the back of the pelvis glued to the mat. So we're using those tummy muscles just to keep that good control. And if you can, thinking about your tummy muscles, also think about these muscles at the side of the tummy, so through the obliques. Just thinking about using those just to control this movement. So tensing through the sides of the tummy as you control the leg going out to the side and as you draw the leg back in. Okay, we're just going to do one more on this right side. Good, and then when you've done that, if you can pop that foot down, and you're going to bring your left leg into your single tabletop position. Remember, knee stays in line with the foot. Remember your two pencils as you draw out. So taking a breath in, as you breathe out, taking the leg out to the side and back in again. So drawing in through the tummy muscles, keeping that right knee as still as you can now. So imagine that little pin on the right knee this time, making sure that's staying nice and steady. And using those muscles at the side of the tummy to try and control this movement. Just thinking about trying to be nice and light on the arms as well. So just thinking about keeping that pressure as light as you can as the leg goes out to the side, as the tendency is want to weight bear through the arm just to control the movement. Well done. Keep it going. Keep drawing in through the tummy. Last three now on this left side. Excellent. And one more for me. Good. And then you're going to rest and lower that leg down. Okay, we're going to go on to an exercise called scissors. So I'm going to give you different levels of this, and you can pick the level that you feel comfortable with. If you haven't done any Pilates before, I'd probably say stick with level 1. Otherwise, you can work into the other level. So we're going to bring our right leg into single tabletop. If you want to stick with single tabletop, that's level 1. Otherwise, we're going to come into our double tabletop position. So we're going to drop the ribs down into the tummy, tense the upper tummy muscles just that little bit more, and as you do that, bring the left leg up. So when you do that, there should be no movement between the low back and the pelvis, okay? If you feel you're hinging as you're drawing the leg up, then you need to just work on that control just that little bit more, okay? So you might want to stay into single tabletop. So you shouldn't ever feel this in your spine. Okay, so no discomfort in the spine, you should be feeling those tummy muscles doing the work, okay? So single or double tabletop, we're going to take a breath in. As we breathe out, we're going to dip the right toes down to the mat and then breathe in, bring them back up again. You can stick with the right side, or if you're in double tabletop, you're going to swap sides, okay? So nice and slow and controlled. The slower you go, the harder it's going to be, just using those slow twitch postural muscles. Okay, so picking the level that you feel comfortable with. So that might be just single tabletop, just doing the right leg. Okay, or you're going to be in your double tabletop, but keeping that good control through the low back and the pelvis. Well done. Okay, so if you are in single tabletop, if you can swap sides for me now, so you're going to swap onto your left leg. Double tabletop is, you can keep going, so nice and slow and controlled, thinking about keeping the angle of the knee exactly the same, so it's just a little toe tap down. Excellent, keep drawing in through those tummy muscles, feel free to have a little break if you need to. So if you're in single tabletop, if you can do 4 more now on that left side, and if you're in double tabletop, if you can do 2 more on each side. Good. And then when you've done those, if you are in double tabletop, we always lower down just one leg at a time, okay? So we make sure we put no pressure through our spine as we come back down again. Excellent. Okay, from there we're going to go into the bridge. So we're going to bring our heels right up towards our bottoms. If you do get any knee discomfort, don't worry about that. You can keep the feet a little bit further away. Otherwise, tucking the heels up will focus a little bit more on your glutes for this. And if you can keep the pressure nice and light on the arms for me, you're going to take a breath in. As you breathe out, curl the pelvis back. So push the small of your back into the mat. Drawing in through the tummy muscle, you're going to squeeze through the bottom muscles and then slowly peel the spine up, just one level at a time. Coming up onto your shoulders, taking a nice deep breath in there. And then as you breathe out, slowly lowering back down again. So thinking about placing those vertebrae down individually, so one at a time. Keep the pelvis tucked up. And then that's the last thing to release at the bottom. So when you're ready, you're going to go again. We're going to do 2 of these and we're going to add in some variations and you can pick the level that you feel happy with. So curling up, good squeeze into the glutes, push equally through the feet, breath in at the top. As you breathe out, lower those vertebrae at the top of the spine down first, all the way down. And then lastly, just releasing at the bottom. Okay, we're going to go again, and then this time we're going to add in some leg movement, and I'm going to give you different options. You can choose the one that you feel happy with. So coming up onto your shoulders, so level 1 is to take the right knee out to the side 3 times, so into like a hip twist movement. Okay, so, and then the left leg 3 times, or level 2 is to stretch the leg away 3 times and pop the foot down in between each one. Okay, and then you're going to swap sides. So pick the level that you feel happy with. And then when you've done the 3 on each side, you're going to lower back down, and then lastly, just untucking through the pelvis. Okay, so when you're ready, you're going to go again. So slowly curling up, peeling the spine up, good squeeze into the glutes, pick the level. So either hip twist out to the side, 3 on the right, and then 3 on the left, or leg extension. But whatever you're doing, the most important thing is to keep the pelvis nice and neutral. So imagine you've got a little spirit level on the top of the pelvis, and we're keeping that directly in the centre. Well done. Okay, we're just going to do 1 more like that. So curling up, squeezing through the bottom muscles. At the top, do your hip twist or your leg extension. So pick the level that you're happy with. Nice and light on those arms if you can. And then when you've done those, we're going to lower back down and then releasing from there. Okay, take your feet just a little bit further away from your bottom now and just reset your pelvis position. So you're going to rock your pelvis backwards and then forwards, so push the small of your back into the mat and then arch your back and then just rest halfway between those 2 positions. And we're going to finish off with 1 leg stretch in this while we're lying on our backs, and then we're going to come onto our sides. So bringing our right leg into our single tabletop. Again, stick with that if you haven't done much Pilates. Otherwise, if you feel happy, you're going to drop the ribs down into the tummy. And that's what we call imprinting, where we're dropping the ribs down. You're going to tense the upper tummy muscles a little bit more as you bring the left leg up, so you're in your double tabletop position. So we're going to take a breath in. As you breathe out, stretch the right leg away from you, and then breathe in, bring it back in again. Single tabletoppers, stick with the right. Double tabletoppers, you're going to swap sides. So nice and slow and controlled. Breathing out to go out of position, and in to come back in again. So picking your level, either your single or your double. So in terms of where you stretch the leg away to, that's going to determine how you use your tummy muscles. So you can take the leg more towards the top part of the wall, okay, just keeping that good control, so there should be no movement between the low back and the pelvis. Or if you feel able to, you can take the leg down so it's hovering just above the mat, and you'll feel those tummy muscles just working that much more, okay? But if you are doing that, we need to make sure that we keep that low back and pelvis in its nice neutral position, and I can't highlight that enough. So we should be feeling this through our tummy muscles. Well done. So if you're doing single tabletop with the right leg, if you can swap sides for me, otherwise keep going. Excellent. Okay, use your breath to help you. Have a little rest if you need to. Well done. So breathing out to go out of position, in to come back in again. Keep that drawing in through the tummy. So double tabletoppers, you're going to aim for 2 more on each side if you can. And if you're in single tabletop with your left leg, if you can do 4 more now on that left side. And then when you've all done those, if you are in double tabletop, just make sure you just lower one leg down at a time and resting back onto the mat. Excellent. Okay, from there we're going to come onto our side. So just grab a drink if you need to, and we'll just see who else has joined us. So Hannah, McCarthy, Caroline, Liz, who else have we got? Lucy over the road. Hi Lucy. Gail. So nice to see you all. Thanks for joining us. So we're going to come onto our side. So if you can just pop your towel in between your head and your arms, so your head's nicely supported, and the underneath arm can be outstretched or it can be tucked up behind your head, whichever's more comfortable. We're going to have our knees bent up and our feet are going to be stacked on top of each other. And we want to have our feet in line with our knees, hips and shoulders. So everything's in a nice straight line. And then to get your pelvis and spine nice and neutral, and this is probably a bit more complicated, if you can just tilt your top hip down towards your heels, and that's just going to create a little gap in between the waist and the mat. So I'll go through that again as if you haven't done Pilates, that's a bit more complicated. So this is where we're relaxed, okay, and these muscles are shortened, and you haven't got a gap in between the waist and the mat. And then when you tilt that top hip down, these muscles are lengthened, the spine is neutral, and you've got that little gap in between the waist and the mat. Okay, so it's just a little tilt just to open up through the underside of the tummy. Okay, so keeping the ribs just relaxed into the tummy and keep that top shoulder sliding down as well. We're going to go into the clam to warm up through these glutes. So we're going to take a breath in. As you breathe out, lift the top knee up and breathe in and lower. So breathing out to lift and in to lower. So good squeeze into the bottom muscles as you lift up, and gently drawing in through the tummy muscle as well. And what I want you to think about is, imagine you've got a light just resting on the top hip and it's pointing directly forwards. So the hip is staying nice and steady. So this is just a movement, just opening up, but this pelvis is staying directly in the same position. Excellent. So just lifting within the range that you feel comfortable. So that can just be a little lift if you want to, or you can lift a little bit higher. And if you're not feeling it in the glutes, sometimes just a little tilt forwards will just kick the glutes in a little bit more, but you won't be able to lift the leg quite so much. So just play around with that position slightly, just making sure you keep the gap in between the waist and the mat. And we want to keep that top shoulder sliding down as well. Excellent. So you should be starting to feel these glutes kicking in a little bit now. So thinking about that good squeeze into the glutes as you open up, and then lowering back down again. Okay, we're going to do 3 more, and then we're going to add in a little bit of leg extension if we can. Good. So when you've done those 3, just rest down, just give that muscle a little bit of a rub or a tap, and then we're going to add in some leg extension into that. So we're going to open the clam up, and then you're going to stretch the leg away, and then pop the foot back down and close back down. So open up, stretch away, pop the foot down and close back down again. Keep it going, should be starting to feel those glutes a bit now. And if you feel this is too much, you can just stick with the lift and lower. You don't need to add in that leg extension, as that will kick the glutes in just that little bit more. Well done. Okay, we're going to go for 4 more if you can. Have a little break otherwise. Good. And last 2. And last 1. Excellent. And then resting down and just rub through the muscle or give it a little tap for me. Okay, we're going to go into a bent leg lift from there. So keeping the angle of the leg exactly the same. We're going to take a breath in, and then as you breathe out, lift the whole leg up and breathe in and lower. So breathing out to lift and in to lower. So staying lengthened through the top waist, getting that good squeeze into the bottom muscles as you lift up. So the angle of the leg should be exactly the same. Starting to feel those bottom muscles a bit now. Feel free to have a little break if you need to. And we're going to go for 4, 3, 2, stay lifted on your last one if you can, and then stretch the leg away, and then little pulses now, pulsing now for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Good, just rub through the muscle. I'll give it a little tap. And then we're going to finish off on this side with a lift and lower. So we're going to have our legs out straight. So as you look down, you should just see your toes, and then the rest of you should be in a nice straight line. And then if you can just tilt that top hip down again, so just to create that little gap so we're nice and lengthened through the top waist, and keep the top shoulder nice and relaxed. So we're going to take a breath in. As we breathe out, lift the top leg up and breathe in and lower. So breathing out to lift and in to lower. Staying lengthened through the top waist. So this isn't so much about the height of the leg, it's more about keeping that gap in between the waist and the mat, and using those glutes to create the lift if you can. Feeling them now. Well done. Okay, if you can, we're going to go for 4, 3, 2, and then stay lifted for the last lot of pulses, or have a little break. We're going to go now for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Good. Okay, well done guys. So we're going to come onto our other side. So if you can roll over for me. And we're going to start off with the clam on this side now. So just make sure your head's nicely supported again, with the arm out straight or tucked up behind your head. And you're going to have your feet and knees stacked on top of each other again. So remember, we want to get that nice straight line from the heels through the bottom up to the shoulder. And then if you can tilt your top hip so you've got that little gap in between the waist and the mat, and keep your ribs soft into your tummy, and keep the top shoulder sliding down. So taking a breath in, as you breathe out, lift the top knee up and breathe in and lower. So good squeeze into the bottom muscle as you lift up, gently drawing up through the tummy muscle as well if you can. And just remember to keep that pelvis nice and steady. So imagine you've got that little light on the top of the pelvis again, and that's pointing at exactly the same position all the way through the movement. Well done. So remember, if you're not feeling it so much in the glutes and you needed to do this on the other side, you might need to do the same. So just that little tilt forwards will just kick the glutes in a little bit more. Okay, but make sure you do keep the gap in between the waist and the mat as you do that. Well done. Okay, you might notice that one side's easier than the other. Sometimes the leg can feel a bit lighter on one side than the other, and that's just an area just to focus on, just highlighting any weakness or perhaps some stiffness in through the hip. So you can just focus on that if you do notice any difference. Well done. Okay, we're going to go for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Resting through, and then giving it a little bit of a rub if you need to. And then we're going to add in our leg extension into that. So you're going to open the clam up, stretch the leg away, pop the foot down, and close back down. So opening up, stretch, pop the foot down, and close. And again, keep it going. Well done. Good squeeze into the bottom muscle as you stretch that leg away, and keep the shoulder nice and relaxed. Excellent. Good. Thinking about that good length of the leg as you stretch away. Well done. Okay, if we can go for 3 more. 2. And last one. Good. And then just rubbing that muscle or giving it a little tap for me. Okay, we went into bent leg lift from there. So keeping the angle of the leg exactly the same, and keep that good length through the top waist. We're going to take a breath in, and then as you breathe out, lift the whole leg up and breathe in and lower. So breathing out to lift and in to lower. Okay, so just keeping that good length through the top waist. So we're using the bottom muscles to create the lift. Well done. Feeling those glutes a bit now. Keep it going. Okay, going for 4. Keep drawing through the tummy. 3, 2, stay lifted on your last one if you can, or you can have a little break. Stretch the leg away, and then little pulses now, keeping that pelvis steady for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Good. Just rubbing through that muscle. Okay, then we're going to have both legs out straight. So as you look down, you should just see your toes, and then the rest of you should be in a nice straight line. We're going to tilt that top hip so you've got that little gap in between the waist and the mat again. We're going to take a breath in. As you breathe out, lift the whole leg up and breathe in and lower. So breathing out to lift and in to lower if you can. Think about your breathing, otherwise don't worry about it. Drawing in through the tummy, and remember, we're not going for height for this, we're going for using the glutes to create the lift, so that's important. These muscles at the top of the waist are staying lengthened and you're keeping that gap as you lift up. Good. Keep those shoulders sliding down. They want to creep up a little bit as you start to feel those glutes that little bit more. Excellent. Going for 5, 4, 3, 2, lift it on your last one if you can, or stop there if you need to. Little pulses now. Keep it going. We're going to go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Good. Just giving that muscle a good rub or a little tap. Okay, we're going to go over onto our hands and knees now, and we're going to go into an exercise called swimming. If you do get any knee discomfort and you're not comfortable in 4-point kneeling, you can do this lying on your front, so just unfold your towel a little bit. You're going to rest your forehead down and you're going to do opposite arm, opposite leg lift, okay? Otherwise, if you can come onto your hands and knees, and you can cushion your knees again if you want to, if you are a little bit uncomfortable in that area. So your knees are going to go underneath your hips, your hands are going to be shoulder distance apart, but just a little bit further forwards than the level of your shoulders. And then if you can stick your bottom out and tuck your bottom underneath you, and then you're going to rest halfway between those two positions. So your pelvis is nice and neutral. So just imagine you've got a little spirit level just resting on the back of the pelvis, and that's staying nice and steady. We're going to think about keeping the shoulders relaxed. So you're going to slide your shoulder blades down your back towards your hips. And then keeping your eyes just pointing down at your fingertips, so the back of the neck is staying nice and long as well. We're going to take a breath in, we're going to draw in through the tummy muscle, and then as you breathe out, stretch your right arm and left leg away from you, and then breathe in, bring it back in again, and then you're going to swap sides, okay? So left arm, right leg. If that feels too much, you can just do the leg, so you don't have to do the arm as well. But what you want to think about is that good length through the legs, so really squeezing that bottom muscle as you stretch away. Nice and slow and controlled. So remember, slower is going to make it harder, just using those deep, slow twitch postural muscles that we want to be focusing on a bit more in Pilates. So drawing that tummy muscle away from the mat, and just thinking about keeping that pelvis nice and steady. So as you stretch those legs away, keep the pelvis in the centre. Well done. Okay, just 2 more on each side for me now. Excellent. And then last ones. Good. Okay, from there we're going to go into the shell stretch, so just sitting back on your heels and reaching your arms forwards and lowering the forehead down. But if you do have any knee discomfort, you can keep the bottom in the air and lower your forehead down, or you can swap this stretch for a knee hug coming onto your back and bringing your knees up to your chest. So just choose the one that you feel comfortable with. But what you want to think about is taking some nice deep breaths in, so really expanding the rib cage out as you breathe in, and let the rib cage lower down as you breathe out. Good. Okay, one more big breath in. And then from there we're going to finish off with one more exercise. So we've got 2 options for this. We're either going to do the plank if you're used to doing that and want to do that, or you're going to go into the cat stretch. So if I talk you through the cat stretch to start with, so knees underneath your hips and hands just a bit further forwards than the level of your shoulders. You're going to tuck your bottom underneath you and tuck your chin down to your chest and draw up through those tummy muscles. And then you're going to stick your bottom out and lift your head up. Okay, so that's the cat stretch. So you can choose that one if you want to. Otherwise, if you're used to doing the plank and want to give this a go, then you can come down onto your elbows. And I'll talk you through the different levels of what we're going to do. So you're going to have your feet in line with your knees, hips and shoulders. And then just tucking the tailbone just slightly underneath you. And we want to think about keeping the shoulders nice and relaxed. So you're going to slide the shoulder blades down. So first level of the plank is to draw in through the tummy muscles and do a little lift of the pelvis and the front of the thighs up off the mat. You can lift and then lower back down again. Okay, so just do a little lift and lower, or you can lift and hold, or you can come up, curl your toes underneath you and come into your full plank where you come up, just lift it up through the legs, and again you can lift and lower back down, or you can lift and hold. So we're going to go for a minute. If you can hold this for longer, then please feel free, or if you don't want to hold it for that long, then have a lower down. No one's going to know when you're at home. So when you're ready, 3, 2, 1 and off you go. So picking your level, either a little lift of the front of the thighs and pelvis and lower back down, lift and hold, or into your full plank, holding, or you can lower back down. The most important thing with this is that we feel it in the tummy muscles. You shouldn't feel it in your spine at all, and if you do, you just need to lower it back down again. Just let the tummy muscles relax for a minute and then just reset and start again. Okay, so just as you feel comfortable, carry on, keep going, and cat stretches if you're doing that, just tucking under, drawing up through the tummy, and then lifting up. Okay, well done. So we're over halfway, so keep it going, we're nearly there. Then it's brekkie time. Good, keep it going. So 15 seconds to go if you can, lower down at any point if you need to. Well done, and we're going to go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Good. Well done, guys. So just back into your shell stretch, and then you're going to walk your hands around from there, just keeping your left buttock sinking down, just feeling that good stretch through the left hand side, taking a nice deep breath in, and then going the other way. If you're not comfortable in this position, if you can go onto your back and hug your knees up and just gently rock from side to side. So feel that good stretch through the right hand side now as you walk those hands around, taking a nice deep breath in and release. Come back to the centre and just walk those hands forwards just that little bit more, trying to get the forearms flat if you can, and take a big breath in to feel that good stretch. And then release. Okay, we're going to come onto our backs and we're going to stretch through our glutes to start with. So if you can just support your head on the towel, you can have your knees bent up. You're going to pop your right foot onto your left knee, and you can just push the right knee away from you, and you should feel a stretch into the hip. Otherwise, if you can hold between your legs, then you're going to hold around the back of the left leg and pull up towards you, and you should feel a good stretch from there. So while you're doing that, we'll just see who else is on here. So, oh, David Bottrell. Hi, David. Well done for getting up. And Vicky, BB, Goldie. Hi, Goldie. Charlie. Oh, good to see you guys. Thank you for joining me this morning, and especially getting that extra up early, that extra hour this morning. So thank you. Okay, so just feeling that good stretch into the glutes, and with your breath, just push that knee away from you just that little bit more. And if you can, if you're holding around the back of the leg, just inch that knee up towards you that little bit more, just to feel that good stretch. Excellent. Okay, we're going to release that stretch and then swap sides. So pop your left foot onto the right knee, and you can push the left knee away or hold around the back of the right leg and pull up towards you and feel that good stretch into the left glutes. So you might feel that one side's a little bit tighter than the other. So again, an area that you might want to focus on is just stretching those glutes out and into the hip as well. And just relaxing into that stretch with your breath. So taking some nice deep breaths in and long, slow breaths out. So with your in-breath, just push that knee away from you that little bit more. And if you're holding around the back of the right leg, just inch that knee up towards you that little bit more as well, just to feel that good stretch. Good. Okay, you're going to release from there, pop both feet down onto the mat now, and you're going to hold around the back of the right leg, and you're going to stretch the leg up to the ceiling. You can have your left leg straight or bent. If you want to get a bit more of a stretch, then you straighten that leg, and that will just open up through the front of that left hip. And then if you want to, just pulse the foot up and down from there. So that will just turn that stretch on and off, but also if you do get any sciatic type pains, this is a nice exercise to do, but you just make sure you just knock onto the door of the stretch and then come straight back off it. So it's certainly not something that you want to be overstretching. Okay, so just feeling that gentle stretch through the back of the leg, and again, just relaxing with your breath. Excellent. Okay, keeping the foot still, you're going to bend the knee and lower that leg down onto the mat, and then hold around the back of the left leg now and stretch the leg up to the ceiling. And then if you want to, just pulsing that foot up and down from there. Just being wary if you do get any sciatica that you're just knocking onto the door of that stretch and then coming back off it. Good. So you can have this right leg straight or bent. Having it straight will just open up through the front of that right hip that little bit more. Good. Okay, Okay, we're going to keep the foot still. You're going to bend the knee and then bring both knees up to your chest and hug the knees up nice and tight. And just gently rock from side to side and just take some nice deep breaths into the tummy. Just let those muscles relax and switch off now, as it's good to know how to switch our muscles on, but we also need to know how to relax muscles as well. So with your breath, just take that down into the tummy and just let those muscles just relax off. So nice deep breaths in and long, slow breaths out. Okay, you're going to settle in the centre. If you can stretch the right leg away from you and then your left leg, and reach your arms up above your head and feel a good stretch all the way from your fingertips to your toes, just taking a nice deep breath in as you reach away in opposite directions. And then as you breathe out, just slowly bring your arms back down by your sides. Good. So you can stay there if you're allowed and you're not going to be jumped on by the kids. Otherwise, if you can come into standing for me, and we're just going to finish off stretching in standing. So coming up onto your mats when you're ready, and you're going to stand with your feet hip distance apart again, and then just doing some nice big shoulder rolls. Well done. Okay, just settle those shoulders in the centre now and just sliding those shoulder blades down. You're going to interlace your hands and reach the arms forwards, just rounding through the shoulders. Take your chin down to your chest, taking a nice deep breath in as you stretch those arms away. And then as you breathe out, reach the arms up to the ceiling and push the hands away, taking a big breath in and breathe out and release. Okay, we're going to take a deep breath in and then we're going to go into our roll down. So you're going to take a big breath in and then as you breathe out, tuck your chin down, slowly work your way down just to as far as you feel comfortable. Going all the way down. Hopefully you feel you can go a little bit further than when you first started. And when you get to that point, take a big breath in. And then as you breathe out, slowly work your way back up again, just putting the weight back through the spine just to get ready for the rest of the day. And then lastly, just coming up with your head and neck. Good, well done guys. So great session, I hope you enjoyed that, and thank you so much for joining me this morning. So in terms of other Pilates classes, I'm going to be teaching on the Better Together Dorset once a week. I'm going to vary the kind of classes that I'm going to be doing so that we can hopefully make them more suitable for a wide range of people. So this week is going to be Pilates for runners on Tuesday evening at 7:45. So if you are a runner or you know anybody that is a runner, then please do join me then, that would be great to see you. And then we're going to have Pilates for the over 70s as well, and we're going to have Pilates for cycling, Pilates with the kids, to do with the kids, which would be great. And also I'm going to be doing some of my hip Pilates as well, which I know some of you have done before, where we've done them in the park. So that's sort of high intensity Pilates where it's a bit more cardio, so you can join me for that if you want to. Thank you for all the lovely messages that keep coming through. So thank you Kirsty and Nikki, Emma, thank you so much, Sophia. So thank you for joining me, and also just keep an eye on the timetable for all the other classes that are going to be going through the week. We're so lucky to have some really well-renowned instructors, and they're going to be looking after you. So we've got a good community of healthcare professionals and instructors that are going to help keep us positive in this challenging time. So please just keep us up to date with everything, and if you can give us lots of feedback in the comments on the Facebook page, that's great, and share as much as you can. So this isn't just Dorset, this is across the country as well. So thanks so much again, have a great Sunday, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.